So the book, as you can see here on the big poster, and here is the book, it's really about where is trade policy going, and to what extent are there parallels with what we have already seen in the past, especially in the 1980s. The book has a kind of a strange genesis. It started off as a conference to honor the retirement of Patrick Messerlin from SciencesPo, who is a well-known trade economist. So we brought together a group of his students and friends to think about where is the world today in trade policy. As people started to think about and write their papers after the conference, Donald Trump was elected to the presidency in the United States. The US began to shift towards a very aggressive unilateral trade policy. So a lot of the papers then kind of reflected on the reasons for this. Is it likely to work? Why is it unlikely to work? And in fact, as we conclude, is that this unilateral effort by the Trump administration really has failed. When we started off with the book, the presumption was that governments are paying too much attention to trade negotiations and trade agreements, and that we really needed to rethink why we had this expansion of global integration and globalization, which really was completely driven by policy changes that individual governments made in their own national interest. Over time, and especially after the election of Mr. Trump, the focus changed a bit because Mr. Trump, of course, and his administration was very much focused on unilateral trade measures, completely ignoring the multilateral trading system and the rules. And what became very clear is that that approach did not work. So many of the papers in the book focus on specific issues that are important and where we need international cooperation. Think about climate change, think about data privacy, think about trade in services. Many of the papers, and in particular the introduction to the book, kind of go through why this unilateral approach that was pursued by the Trump administration is doomed to fail, and in fact, we would argue, has failed.